You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we're very excited today. We're going to talk about Alec Baldwin facing charges for murdering a woman and shooting another. But before we do that, because we're getting contacted from a lot of listeners, we are in Florida. You guys know we are in sunny South Florida, just like it says in the opening of the podcast. We are no longer in the cone of the hurricane. Most of the rest of the state of Florida is, but we are out of the cone. We call it the cone of concern. We're no longer in the cone. And our neighbors, though, there's a lot of peer pressure that goes on when hurricanes happen.
That's true.
3 of our neighbors have just put their hurricane shutters up. One started over the weekend. The guy directly across the street has put his up since I got off the radio this morning. 2 houses down, they've put their shutters up. So now everyone on the street except me is going to have their shutters up. I'm going to wait and see what the advisories are tomorrow. We're not even in the cone, so
we're not even under a tropical storm warning.
No, if tomorrow morning when I get off the radio, the cone shifts and we're in the cone, then I'll put up some of the shutters just to save time because you don't want to be doing it in the rain, and get wet. But it only takes me less than an hour to get all the shutters up. Once I get into the rhythm of doing it.
The storm is going to hit pretty much like it's going to really just scoot on by Tampa and then go up to Apalachicola. And it's interesting because I told you that the European model is always the most accurate. And that's true in this case because the Weather Center, the Weather Channel had the cone off to the west, not even touching Tampa. And then that was that for days. And then yesterday they shifted the cone to the right, to the east.
Yeah.
And they even said, we're shifting the cone because the European model has it hitting Tampa. The European model is always the model to follow. That's my experience.
Yeah.
And the European model has always said that is going to hit Tampa, Florida.
And I'll tell you, it really bugs me. The National Hurricane Center is in Miami.
Yeah.
And that's the main model that all the news go by. Kathy and I always go by the European model, which they talk about on the Weather Channel. And it really burns me that the European model is more accurate on hurricanes than the American model. But anyway, I'm going to be the only person on the street, the only guy that has not put up the hurricane shutters on our street, but I'm not going to do it yet.
No, we're not going to give in to the peer pressure.
That's right.
I guess Brian Norcross is retired because they'd always bring him out during every big storm on the Weather Channel. And I miss Brian Norcross. Now they have some other guys up there, some other doctors of weather, but meteorologists.
Well, let's get to the good news. And the good news is Alec Baldwin, is facing some charges here. Let me read through this. This is in the Daily Mail. New Mexico prosecutors have indicated that they may charge Alec Baldwin over the fatal shooting of Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer, on the set of his movie Rush last year after Alec Baldwin handed over his cell phone to be considered as evidence. And by the way, an FBI analysis has determined that he did pull the trigger, even though he denied it. In a letter to the state's financial board asking for funding to prosecute the high-profile case, Santa Fe District Attorney Mary Carmack Altwies. Oh, you're in trouble if you're up against a woman with 3 names. She said she hyphenated. You got to watch out for the hyphenated women, She said she was ready to file charges against 4 people. She stopped short of confirming the charges she planned to bring, but said was certainly looking. If you're going to charge 4 people, one of them has to be Alec Baldwin.
What I would think.
He pulled the trigger of the gun.
Absolutely.
Killed 1, shot 2.
I wonder what he's thinking right now.
She said she's certainly looking at all the homicide statutes and any gun statutes under New Mexico Criminal Code. One of the possible defendants is well-known movie actor Alec Baldwin, she wrote. Oh, so she did say Alec Baldwin. She asked for $635,000 to prosecute the case from the government. She said she needs money to go up against well-paid attorneys. The state agreed to award her office $317,000. And it goes on.
They probably asked for more than what they need, I would imagine. You know what I mean? She probably needs about 300, but she doubles it.
Like, that's probably what Trump does.
That's probably typical.
That's what Trump does. Yeah. This thing about Alec Baldwin, if anyone else would have shot a woman dead and a director on the set, the trial would have happened long ago. You already would be doing time. Alec Baldwin, people say, oh, he's a movie star, he'll get away. And then others say, oh, no, he's a has-been movie star. Well, there was next to O.J. Simpson, okay, O.J. Simpson was pretty big, and he was still doing NBC Sports when he killed Ron and Nicole. But Robert Blake got away with cold-blooded murder of his wife, and he hadn't acted since like 1975 in anything anybody had watched, right? Beretta. I know he had some show where he played a priest that no one watched in the 80s, but
he was a great actor.
But Alec Baldwin is not as washed up as Robert Blake was, and Robert Blake got away with it.
I got to disagree with you on this. Alec Baldwin's pretty washed up.
Not as washed up as Robert Blake was.
Robert Blake was an acting legend.
Yeah, Little Rascals.
I would say like a Mickey Rooney type. He was in Little Rascals. He was in that movie that Truman Capote was
in Cold Blood.
Great movie.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of stuff. He was really one of those actors that people grew up with. You know what I mean? And they of that age knew him from a long time. He had a long career. Then he was on Beretta, which was a great show. So I don't ever consider him washed up. I considered him more of like one of those acting legend types because he was like from the 30s acting when he was a kid. He was very well known. And but yeah, it's the celebrity, the cult of celebrity. I think now, what do you think he'll be charged with? I'm not familiar with the laws, but at the minimum, it's going to be like reckless endangerment.
I'm going to make a prediction that no one else is going to make, and I'm going to predict that Alec Baldwin's going to go to jail.
No way.
And I'll tell you why. And in O.J. Simpson's case, okay, in O.J. Simpson murdered Ron and Nicole. There was a witness. O.J. killed the witness. Ron Goldman came upon the crime.
And then you get the dog.
Robert Blake, there was no witness.
Right.
O.J. Simpson, there was no witness, okay? With Alec Baldwin, not only are there witnesses who were there, including the director that survived, that he shot with the bullet that killed a cinematographer, there are cameras all over the place that have recorded this because they were setting up a shot and they were rehearsing. So there's all kinds of very high definition video of the entire thing. And I promise you there's sound too. So the other guys got away with it, not just because they were celebrities. That was a large part of it, but because there were no eyewitnesses that could show them doing the killing. In Alec Baldwin's case, we're going to see it on film. It was recorded on the camera that she was behind when he shot her. And there may have been other cameras in the room as well that were running.
Plus,
so there's witnesses to this one.
We don't know exactly. Alec Baldwin has a temper. He's a temper. And it precedes him into this situation. I'm not accusing him of anything, okay?
No, he killed her.
But you don't know what was going on in his mind. And you don't know what led up to this. They kept telling you it was an accident. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know the circumstances exactly as to what happened. But if she's going to charge 4 people, I'm assuming it's going to be Alec Baldwin, the arms person.
Yeah, the prop
girl. And I don't know of anybody other 2 people that would be involved. The director was shot himself, so it's not going to be him. I don't know who else it could be. To me, that was always the 2 people that were responsible. Look, you're an actor. This is the thing with him. Actors are pretty dumb. And I understand that I saw the animation of what happened. It was pretty crazy. And she was behind the camera with the director, and they were setting up a shot. Now, I need to know, did she tell him to point the gun at the camera? That is possible because she might have wanted to get the angle and the lighting and all this set up. That's what cameramen do and directors. The director was telling her. But that doesn't mean he had to pull the trigger. You know what I mean? You can point a gun, and you're an actor. You're going to assume that gun is empty because obviously that is the prop master's job.
That was his first mistake.
That was the prop master's job. But you never point a gun at anyone. That's common sense, whether it's loaded or not. And I don't care what he says. Guns don't shoot themselves. Okay? I mean, him to go on TV and say the gun went off on its own, I don't think that happens.
Well,
I mean, is that possible for a gun to just shoot by itself?
This is the thing with Alec Baldwin.
You got to pull the trigger.
If we're really lucky,
and he pulled that trigger,
and I'll tell you, a lot of you guys say, "Oh, you're taking satisfaction." Yeah, I am. He killed a woman. He killed a woman who has a child. Okay, and he's out there celebrating. He has more kids than Octomom. You know.
Yeah, he's just had his 7th kid.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin has a history since he has been famous of getting in fights with people in public. It started out with the paparazzi when he was married to Kim Basinger.
He's got a temper,
and this movie he was a producer of. They were over budget. He had money involved in it. A lot of high stakes, a lot of tension on top of his normal acting. I can see him very well being in a hot, heated moment with the director and the cinematographer. And if they show video in a trial, even if it's done at the actual shooting, it could have been the day before or a week before of him fighting, arguing with them, yelling, and then he ended up shooting both of them, killing one. He's going to go. These other guys.
That would not be a good look.
Robert Blake, there were no witnesses. There's rarely a witness in a murder because the witness gets killed. People don't generally do it. But Alec Baldwin shot a woman dead. Now, I want to play some audio here. The first one is Alec Baldwin. He hired his own private investigator some time ago and decided to do TV interviews. And he said he won't be charged. Listen.
Both were bad ideas, by the way.
Private investigator, as you probably know, did not have a difficult time accessing the staff of the sheriff's department. And that person told us, quote unquote, "We've known in the department since January that Alec would not be charged with a crime."
Okay. Now, you got to watch out how he talks about himself. He uses the royal we, us, instead of me.
Third person.
And then he talks about himself in the third person. He said, Alec Baldwin says, Alec Baldwin will not be charged with a crime. This guy is insanely out of his mind.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, we watched The Hunt for Red October, which I saw in the theater when it first came out in 1990. We watched it not long after he shot these two people, killing the woman. Because it was on, it was free, it's on the app. We watched it.
I'd never seen it.
It's not that good.
I thought it was boring.
When that movie came out, The Hunt for Red October, I thought it was spectacular, and it's mediocre, and he's not that great in it.
You want to see a good submarine movie? I'll recommend too the Das Boot, which is the best, and the U5. What's the one with Matthew
U571?
U571 with John Bon Jovi. And Matthew McConaughey's very good. And Ricky Schroeder's in that very, very good movie. 2 good submarine movies.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be the first person to say that Alec Baldwin will be convicted and he will do time. I predict. Listen.
He'll get convicted of something. I don't know about jail, but he will get convicted. Maybe parole.
No, he will be convicted, and I think he will do time. Now, Alec Baldwin and his team are going to try to blame everything on the prop person. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of blame there.
There is.
Live ammunition should be nowhere near a movie set.
I'm really curious how it ended up there. I'm really, really curious, and I hope they get to the bottom. She wants to charge 4 people. So there's 2 other people we don't know about.
There could be multiple prop people
are involved somehow. And maybe the prop person had an assistant. I mean, how did a bullet end up in the gun that shot Brandon Lee? I mean, how do these bullets end up on these sets?
The thing with even a prop gun, you always assume that a gun is loaded with live ammunition. I'm a gun owner. We have guns here in our house. They're all loaded, by the way. But even if they weren't, I would assume they are loaded. In fact, we had somebody over at the house not long ago, and I was showing them my pistols. And of course, I unloaded them before I took them to them, and then I checked them again before I these are things that you are responsible as. So
I didn't even know movie guns could shoot real bullets. I thought they were like cap guns or something.
Just ask Alec Baldwin.
He would know.
They can. But if they can, I'm not saying that the prop person doesn't have responsibility. There should not be live ammunition on a movie set. But a lot of people on the movie set knew because they were target practicing. Alec Baldwin could have been in that crew target practicing.
He could have. Well, now if that's the case, that's what I'm thinking is how the bullets ended up there. They were doing target practice because they were out in the desert and you could shoot and there's nobody around. If he was involved in any target practice, or if they can prove that he knew there were bullets on that set, then he really can't blame and he can't absolve himself from the responsibility of, I didn't know. If they can prove, well, you were doing target practice the day before, you knew there were bullets here, then that kind of ruins that defense.
Well, even if Alec Baldwin was not hot-headed and yelling at the two people he shot, killing one throughout the filming of this, which I find impossible to believe he wasn't shouting at them at some point.
He's always shouting.
Camera. He's still guilty of manslaughter. You can't convict the prop guys and acquit the guy that had the gun and shot the two people, killing one with his own hand. There's no way, in my opinion. And this trial, it'll be a jury trial, and it's not in Los Angeles. So they don't have the movie connection that they do like in the OJ or the Robert Blake was in Los Angeles too, wasn't it? That trial? I can't remember.
Yeah. She was shot outside a restaurant.
So they're out of Hollywood. So now I want to play this other soundbite of Alec Baldwin. This is unrelated to the killing and the shooting, but I love this one. Alec, this is like one of my
Brian's favorite.
Anytime I have an opportunity to play this, I play this, and I've not played this in a long time. Hannity likes this one too.
It's good.
Everyone thinks they can host a radio show, and it's so easy, don't you think? Oh yeah, until they actually do it. And I have seen this happen to many people. They think it's so easy. All you do is you go in there and you talk, and anyone can do that. So Alec Baldwin,
I do it.
Yeah. Alec Baldwin filled in on the radio one night, and here's a highlight reel of it. Yeah. It's great.
When can we take some calls, Ivan? Whenever we want. Do we have calls that are on there now?
No calls yet.
No calls yet. What number do people call to get on the air, Ivan? Do we have that number?
It's right there.
Do I have the call number in front of me? Oh, I'm so sorry. That's interesting. Do we have any calls yet there, Ivan? No calls. Let's read some more about Scientology. Is Sean Hannity a Scientologist? Alec Baldwin posing the big questions tonight here. Do we have any calls here yet, Ivan? None. Boy, it's just incredible.
Okay. I love it.
I think Ivan was holding the calls.
Well, okay.
That's my theory. I don't think Ivan likes Alec Baldwin too much.
Yeah. Now, I play this for a couple reasons. It's fun to hear Alec Baldwin die on the air. Okay. That's fun. And, this, of course, never happens to me because
never.
I'm very, when I first started out doing a 3-hour radio show, I was on the air live from 3 a.m. till 6 a.m. There were no calls at that hour a lot of time. So I was used to doing a show for 3 hours when no one was calling, because it was 3 a.m. to 6. Can you imagine 3 to 6 a.m. live on the radio?
I can't imagine.
So I can go all week without a single call. I'll be fine. I don't need the calls.
And Brian just talks to himself at home.
That's
all the
exactly
time.
right. In my sleep,
Emily and I never answer
on the toilet, in the car, everywhere. Just in the shower.
He just talks all the time.
I'm just talking about Trump and politics and Alec Baldwin.
Whether you're listening or not.
That's right. But this thing with Alec Baldwin, I play this. This is why I take calls live on the air and don't have a call screener.
Exactly.
Alec Baldwin, this was many years ago. This was 05, 06. He was still a movie star then. Okay, and
he was,
and he was a big movie star then. Alec Baldwin could go on the air and just say, "Hi, it's Alec," and the phone lines would be lit up with people when they talked to Alec Baldwin. Board ops, call screeners keep you from getting calls.
That guy was holding those calls.
Because
there's no way somebody on that. And the problem with Alec Baldwin is he didn't know how to hide the fact that they weren't getting any calls. He couldn't even vamp for 5 minutes. And do you notice the topic he chose to try to get calls? He starts talking about
and
Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
So he throws out Sean Hannity, thinking, well, I'll get people that hate him to call. I mean, that's his go-to is Hannity. He had nothing written, even nothing prepared. He just thought he'd walk on in and just talk to people. Yeah. But you're right. And this was my theory that Ivan was holding calls from him because I think he probably was a jerk.
This is what's going on here. Ivan, the board op, was sucking up to Hannity trying to get a promotion instead of being the weekend nighttime guy, and did this probably sucking up to Hannity to try to get a big break.
Or maybe he just hates him.
Maybe, or that too. But Alec Baldwin, that was beautiful. And, Alec Baldwin doesn't understand that he has these great monologues and everything in the movies, but they're written by educated people, and he's just memorizing the words that were written for him.
It's too bad because he is a very good actor. I mean, every movie I've seen other than Hunt for Red October, that's really not his fault, but I just thought it was boring. But I've seen him in movies. He was great in The Aviator. He was great in the Glengarry, Glenn Ross. I mean, he is a very good actor, and he's horrible as Donald Trump. That was a big mistake.
That was terrible.
To do that. That was just stupid.
That was terrible. But not
his finest moment.
But when he has to come up with his own words and thoughts, he's just. Let me play just one more time because I don't get to play this very often.
I bet Hannity plays this every day in his private life. I bet he has it on his phone. It might even be his ringtone.
This clip here is Sean Hannity's Viagra. Okay, but I like to play it.
I don't know about that, but I think he likes it.
Oh yeah.
When can we take some calls, Ivan? Whenever we want. Do we have calls that are on there now?
No calls yet. No calls yet.
What number do people call to get on the air, Ivan? Do we have that number?
It's right there.
Do I have the call number in front of me? Oh, I'm so sorry. That's interesting. We have any calls yet there, Ivan? No calls. Let's read some more about Scientology. Is Sean Hannity a Scientologist? Alec Baldwin posing the big questions tonight here. Do we have any calls here yet, Ivan? None. Boy, it's just incredible.
You know, one time,
he just did not handle that
years
well.
ago. See, when I first started out in talk radio, I was a board op and call screener, okay? And so I know what but I was always on the air too. I was on the air one day a week, and then the rest of the week I ran the board and screen calls. I had a weekend show. And I used to know what the board ops did. I never did that because being an on-air person, I appreciate what being on the air is all about. Wouldn't do that. And I've told Steve about this. This was years ago. I told Steve, I said, because he wanted to hire a call screener for me. And I told him no because of what I tell you guys. They screen out the call. You'll be like Alec Baldwin. They get pissed off that you got no calls. So Steve didn't believe me. And we went, and this was a number of years ago. We went to another studio while our studio was being worked on. And we were up there for an entire week. And I told Steve, I said, the board op is not putting the calls through. I know he's not because I can tell. And he's like, I don't believe it. And Steve came in late, and the board op didn't hear him come in. And Steve heard the board op hanging up on callers and not putting them on hold, pretending they were hanging up on us.
It's a power trip.
And he couldn't believe it. And
it's a power trip.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I don't blame the guy for doing it. In fact, that board op that did that to Alec Baldwin, he should be put in the Radio Hall of Fame just for doing that. I think
he's a great American.
Now listen, we're going to take a break, and we had a strange happening at our front door just a little while ago that we're going to tell you about when we get back. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
When it comes to cologne and perfume, you want the scent you wear to say something about you, and you want to make a connection with that scent so it becomes a part of who you are. JCFragrance.com, that's JASI, sell hypnotic cologne and delicious perfume. When you smell good, you feel good. The hypnotic cologne has a perfect blend of musk, bergamot, ambergris, and tobacco. This cologne leaves you with a refreshing and exceptionally long-lasting aroma unlike any other, and it's ideal for casual as well as formal wear. The delicious perfume is a sweet, softly, floral Egyptian musk fragrance. This perfume leaves you with a light, refreshing aroma, and it simply smells delicious. JC is passionate about making everyone feel special at all times through amazing scents. JC is committed to make the world a better place, so part of their profits will be used towards direct charity assistance to help feed hungry families and meet their basic needs. You can also follow them on Facebook. Just search JC Store. JCFragrance.com. That's JASI. JCFragrance.com. Nourishing self-identity through eternal scents. From author Kathy Cushing Calverley comes the book Coco's Tale, The Corgi No One Wanted. It's based on a true story and is available on Amazon. In Coco's Tale, The Corgi No One Wanted, every night this little corgi puppy dreams about having a family who will love her. And every day she watches as other puppies find new homes, but never her. She knows she's not super cute like the other puppies. In fact, she's kind of funny looking, but she wants to believe that one day, one very special day, someone will choose to take her home. She'll be loved, and she'll do everything she can to be the best dog ever, just for them. But as more and more time passes, she wonders if her dream will ever come true. And if it doesn't, what will happen to her? Coco's Tale, The Corgi No One Wanted, from author Kathy Cushing Calverley, is a heartwarming, well-written book that both kids and adults will enjoy. Order your copy on Amazon, and make sure to check out the author's Etsy shop featuring cute corgi art. To the C Studios on Etsy. That's the number 2, the letter C Studios. To the C Studios on Etsy.com. It's time to vibe with a purpose. Vibing with Purpose is an Etsy shop that wants to speak to your soul with items that are perfect for all occasions and holidays. And everything is meant to spoil and pamper you. Online at etsy.com/shop/vibing with purpose. You will find something that speaks to your spirit in their spiritual healing shop that allows you to be taken care of. Make sure to check out their amazing sprays, accessories, home decor bath salts, their self-care gifts, candles, crystals, ritual boxes, and so much more. Don't let bad vibes weigh you down. Let Vibing with Purpose lift you up. All orders are shipped fast directly to you. Shop now and receive 30% off when you use the code SAVE30. That's SAVE30 to get 30% off. Etsy.com/shop/vibing with purpose.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Now, if you're like us, you don't open your door for anyone. You know, we have a no soliciting sign on our front door, and we get knocks at the door all the time because most solicitors don't know what soliciting means.
Yeah, the sign doesn't work. I told you to take it down.
Yeah, the sign doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. And I don't answer the door for anyone under any circumstances. And I know that sounds crazy. I used to be that way. I used to open up the door for everyone that came. And you told me not to do it. And before we were married, I had an apartment in Fort Lauderdale, and someone knocked at the door. I opened the door, and it was a homeless guy, and he put his foot in the door and tried to make his way into the apartment.
Exactly.
I had to push him out and call the police. And even after,
got to worry about all kinds of stuff these days.
Even after that, I used to open the door for everyone. And we get solicitors all the time. And I just don't open the door for anyone because it's not safe if you don't know who's out there. Plus, I don't want to be bothered. So
that's the real reason.
Yeah. So there was a guy at the door today, and I happened to be walking out into the living room, so I didn't have to look on the camera to see who it was. I could see there was a guy at the door, and he had a bunch of stuff in his hand. He knocked on the door a couple times. I'm like, oh,
the salesman.
A door-to-door salesman.
Right.
And I didn't answer the door. And then I saw the guy. There was a car parked in the front of our house on the street, and he got into the passenger side and drove off. And I said, well, that's weird. What was that about? And I didn't, and when I saw him through the window, I thought he might have seen me. So I didn't want to answer the door. So he saw me. I didn't answer the door, but I saw the car drive off, and I went out there, and I couldn't believe it. Governor Ron DeSantis sent someone to our house. Personally. No, I'm serious. I'm not kidding. And he left this huge, what do you call these things? These door hanger advertisement things on our door. It's massive.
They probably have because we've donated to his campaign, they probably have a list of homes that they particularly, I don't know why he just pulled up to our house and left a flyer and then drove off. I've never seen that before. Usually directly.
Well, you know why, Kathy?
I guess these flyers are expensive. They don't want to waste them on people that aren't going to vote.
They have.
Just a reminder.
They have the list. I want to go through that. They have the list of who the Republicans are in the neighborhood, and they're just going to Republican doors or something special. I don't know. I don't think it's because I'm on the radio. I think it was.
Well, the cop at the end of the street has a big DeSantis sign in his yard, so I'm sure he got one too.
So I wanted to read through some of this, and I was just surprised, and I do know that campaign workers, they do have on their phones, they do have all your information. They put in your address. They know if you voted, whether you're registered, who lives in the house, and everything. That's something that's known. But I've never seen someone. I've seen people come from campaigns and stuff and go on everyone's door. I've never had someone just come to our door and then get in the car and drive off to the next door. That just weren't going to every door. I felt kind of special. But it says here, this is a pretty big one. Freedom is on the ballot in 2022 is the headline of the
That's
door
for
hanger.
sure.
Get involved. Help keep Florida free on November 8th, 2022. And then it has a picture of his family, his 3 kids, and everything. And then on the back, It says, Ron DeSantis, Florida governor, keep Florida free. And then it tells us some things about Governor DeSantis. Iraq war veteran, father of 3, and defender of freedom. It's like he's a superhero. And they have,
I love it.
Yeah, and
he is a superhero.
He sure is. And they have some of Governor Ron DeSantis' accomplishments here. The first one, freedom. Kept Florida open, protected jobs and businesses of Floridians, prioritized senior citizens for medications, and safeguarded Floridians against mandates. 2, the economy. Due to Florida being open, Florida has outpaced the nation in jobs, economic growth, new business formations, and tourism. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, Florida enjoys a record budget surplus, which he's giving back.
That's true.
Through cutting taxes on all kinds of products.
He's really given back a lot of that surplus to the people. It's really I've never seen anything like it.
And we have no state income tax in Florida.
No.
And yet we have a state surplus, and we have the second largest population, where these other states are running deficits and they have a state income tax.
This is why Newsom is going around trashing Abbott and DeSantis, because he's so jealous and they're making him look so bad. You know, it's so funny. Our daughter, you know, she has friends in California. She goes to LA sometimes, and she ordered Taco Bell the other day, right? And it came here and through DoorDash, and she ordered something that she normally orders in California when she's there with her friends, and she pulled it out of the bag, same price, actually a little more money in California than it would be here. She said, Mom, this food is twice the size as it would be in California.
Oh, they control portions in California?
And I said, yeah. And she's just realized going there how messed up California is. It's all these little things. She said, what a ripoff. She said, it costs more money and you get half the food. I said, because California sucks.
They think people are fat, so they got to.
Probably, probably.
The liberal utopia.
It's something. And she told me that they love Gavin Newsom out there. I said, because they're brainwashed and they don't know any other reality.
Yeah, they're high.
They don't know any other reality. Yeah. They've grown up there. They don't know another way. She said, that's right. She said, they don't know what freedom is like. That's what our daughter said.
So, okay, this is the next thing on the door hanging ad. I wish I would have opened the door for this guy, because I was curious to know why they came up.
Well, you know, you got to be careful.
Yeah. The next one's education. Ron DeSantis guaranteed the ability of parents to send their kids to school in person, enacted protections for parents' rights in education, provided a record amount of funding for schools, secured the largest increase in teacher compensation in Florida history. He gave them all raises, promoted workforce training and civics education, froze tuition for the state universities, and preserved the Bright Future Scholarship. Public safety. Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation prohibiting local governments from defunding law enforcement.
There you go.
The liberal
that's a big problem this election. It's going to be a big problem.
He secured a $1,000 bonus for all police, fire, and EMT personnel, enacted the largest law enforcement recruitment and retention package in the nation. And then finally, the environment, secured a record $3.3 billion to safeguard Florida's natural resources, improve water quality.
Amazing.
They always tell us on the left that Republicans want dirty water, but he improved our water quality.
Yes, we like dirty water here.
Restoring Florida's Everglades, enacted water quality legislation, and invested tens of millions of dollars for mitigation of blue, green algae, and red tide. Now, that's something I don't even understand.
And we're still in a surplus. The algae is a real problem. My dad lives in Stewart, and it's a real problem in the inlets there. The algae is almost like fluorescent green, and it's a real problem, and it's affecting the manatee population because that's what they eat. And they also eat sawgrass, and anyway, that's a whole other issue. That's a big issue. That is why Brian Mast is having problems, which I did not realize. He's in Stewart, in Martin County, and where my parents live, and I did not realize a lot of people are not happy with Brian Mast up there because of this algae issue.
Yeah, the algae's bad.
It's a problem. It's an ongoing problem in that area.
But I do know this: Ron DeSantis is awesome, and
that's
this
for
door
sure.
hanger. This is a very expensive door hanger. I guess you're right. They don't want to just put them on everyone's door.
No, yeah, I don't
on
think
special
so. I
people.
think this is just
on Republican doors.
This flyer to me is meant for. It's not really meant to convince, maybe, but it's more meant for like get you excited
and get a discussion
make sure you
going.
Get out and vote,
so you can talk to people. And you
get out and vote. Yeah, but they don't want to waste. This is a very big flyer.
Yeah, I want to keep this one.
You want to frame it?
Yeah, we'll frame it. Yeah,
we have a picture of Ron DeSantis and his whole family on our fridge. They sent us a postcard, I guess after I donated, and it's a very nice photo. of them. We put that on the fridge.
Next to our Trump Christmas card.
Exactly. We have the Trump and a bunch of MAGA
We're on the
stuff
list.
around the house. Yeah.
We're on the Christmas card list.
There's no doubt.
There's a story today, it's so fake, that Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott are fighting, and that
and him and Trump.
And Trump and Ron DeSantis haven't talked in months. Don't believe any of this.
None of it.
It's all unnamed sources. And, which
means they make it up.
This whole thing that's been going on with the busing and the flights of the migrants, Abbott and DeSantis coordinated that. Same day that the flights to Martha's Vineyard happened is when those buses went to Kamala's house in D.C. and dropped off the migrants in front of the vice president's house at the Naval Observatory. They're coordinating.
Well, not only are they saying that Trump...
And they're not running against each other.
No, not only are they... In fact, I think they're going to end up being running mates.
I could see it.
That's my prediction in 2028.
Yeah.
They're now saying that Trump, in private, called DeSantis fat.
Oh, please.
And, the lies... But liberals believe all this. They eat it up. But the lies are so ridiculous and stupid. If you believe it, you're stupid.
Yeah, well...
You are. I'm sorry. But they're just dumb.
Well, they always have these unnamed sources.
Yeah,
right?
Which means they make it up in the newsroom.
And that's such a great gimmick that the press have.
Oh, it is.
If they have a confidential source, they don't have to reveal it.
It's Hillary Clinton. She's everybody's source.
I don't think any of them ever have sources. I just think they make crap up.
They do. I know it is. It's a scam they have going. It's a big gimmick. You're right.
Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much for your support. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, you can go to my website, briancraigshow.com. There's a link there to it, as well as in the description of this and every episode, and become a Patreon supporter. There are many perks. We've updated our perks.
Yeah, lots of tiers, lots of options, lots of new perks coming down the pike. And the BrianCraigShow.com has everything. And
no, it's BrianCraigShow.com. You said the. It's Brian Craig Show.
Sorry. BrianCraigShow.com. Yeah. Has everything, all the links, also to the T-shirt shop. We have a lot of great shirts and the Patreon. It's really the best way to support the show if you're a fan. Mm-hmm. And there's all different tiers, something for everybody.
Yeah, and there's some things we're adding. Yeah. Kathy is going to start doing a Patreon-only podcast without me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either by myself or with Emily.
We'll with our daughter. So, and I will not be on that
just
podcast.
Me.
So you guys can hear them without me.
Depends on Emily's time management.
And Kathy told me that I cannot listen to the show until it's up on the Patreon page. So I'm not even going to know what they're going to be talking about until you guys do.
That's exactly right.
And there's another perk to Patreon that you can have access to. And this one's a little crazy for me to do, but I'm doing it for you guys. You can get my real cell phone number.
At certain levels.
Yeah, so you can call me or text me. Now, here's the thing. It is my real cell phone number. It is not an app. Somebody I know gives out this text message number on the radio, and I talked to them about that, and they use an app. Okay? They don't use
like WhatsApp.
Yeah, this is going to be this
number.
And some of you already have it that are Patreon supporters, so you know. But you can have my real cell phone number where you can call and text me. And because I get up so early, I do get text messages from people at like 4:35 in the morning.
Yeah, you do. I know. I hear your phone go off.
And sometimes when I get a text message or a call that early, I think someone's either dead or in jail. But
exactly.
or they're a Patreon supporter.
Oh,
so
exactly.
I do give out my real cell phone number. It's not an app or anything like that. So anyway, go to BrianCraigShow.com. There you can find the Patreon link, and there's also one in the episode description. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. Okay, I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, that's Coral Springs Gary, who sent me Gary, and our Patreon supporter Gary from Coral Springs here in South Florida. That cool hat I have that says Trump DeSantis 24, Make America Florida. Gary from Coral Springs gave me that one.
Love that hat.
ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, and Macho. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. We're going to take our break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
When it comes to fashion and accessories, there's nothing more timeless than a watch. Always in style, watches make a statement and go with everything and everyone. The watches at Operandi Firenze on Etsy are classic, top-of-the-line, genuine leather. They're handcrafted to perfection and individually inspected. They go through an in-depth process of quality checks before making it to the owner's hands. Operandi Firenze on Etsy is veteran-owned and operated. They wanted to create an amazing quality product that people will want to own and wear. Go to the shop right now, etsy.com/shop/Operandi Firenze. View the inventory. You will be impressed. Not only will you find items for yourself, but great gifts too. Etsy.com/shop/Operandi Firenze. Made for the modern watch collector. Cancer is something that sadly touches all our lives, and when it affects young people, it's especially distressing. Josh has organized a GoFundMe for his partner Brandy, who was recently diagnosed with B-cell lymphoblastic leukemia. Brandy has been working in the healthcare industry as an interventional radiology technologist. She's dedicated her life to helping others inside and outside of work and has the biggest heart. Josh is asking for help to ensure that Brandy can focus all of her energy on the battle ahead instead of worrying about the price tag attached to her healthcare. Your support would mean so much to her. You can help Brandy by donating to her GoFundMe at GoFundMe.com/Brandy Clipping. That's GoFundMe.com/BRANDIEKLIPPING. GoFundMe.com/Brandy Clipping. And help Brandy beat cancer. The world is a beautiful place just waiting to be explored. The online store, earthswrap.com, assists you to explore the most beautiful places in the world. They carry sleeping accessories, kitchen items, tents, hiking shoes, and much, much more. These are premium quality products that will set you up to explore every part of the world you want to go with ease and preparedness. When you visit the shop, make sure to check out their amazing hiking backpacks, travel bags, outdoor jackets, and hammocks. They offer competitive prices and incredible customer service. Start shopping today so you can explore tomorrow. earthswrap.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Now, I know no one watches Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski because they're on television when I'm on the radio, and I know you guys listen to me on the radio or watch me on YouTube during that time. But today they had a little bit of a talk. Listen to Mika.
Jarring report. Again, it shows the dangers cults have on vulnerable people. And these are cult movements.
And John Heilman,
Okay, now John Heilman, I'll just read you what he said. Why? Because Trump is a popular politician. It's a cult. What about Kennedy? What about Obama or any of these others? And by the way, you put Kennedy together with Obama, it did not equal the support and the turnouts that, when Kennedy was getting big turnouts, he had the Rat Pack, right? He had Sinatra, Sammy Davis, Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, and they were the top celebrities at the time. Yeah. He wasn't filling up arenas, John F. Kennedy, by himself, unless Marilyn Monroe came to sing happy birthday and disrespect his wife or something. Donald Trump, it's not a cult.
Well, they see those build-up rallies, and it just triggers them. And they just look at all the people there, and they just have to rationalize it somehow in their mind because they can't face the truth that he's just popular. So instead of saying, well, he's just a popular guy, they have to say they're all in a cult and they're being bamboozled and they're all being manipulated and whatever. They can think whatever the hell they want.
And then I'm not going to play the audio of the rest of that, but I'll just they had on this Heilman, who's this liberal jerk they love to have on MSNBC, came on after Mika's cult talk. And she's got that snooty. She almost has that same accent as John Kerry. She's got this snooty accent.
She does have a snooty accent.
And a lot of you I know this, but for those that don't, her father. She's deep state. Her father was the national security advisor to President Carter. So she's deep state. Okay, she's not just some girl who went to who was a local weather girl who made it and went to NBC and became big.
Well, she is like a weather girl.
She is a weather girl's smarter because they know a little bit about science.
No, that's a meteorologist.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Weather girl, no.
Yeah. But
she Al Roker's a weather girl.
Mika Brzezinski is a well-connected deep stater. That's why Joe Scarborough married her, to solidify himself in place with the establishment. Absolutely.
Maybe. They don't seem to get along
very well connected. When your father is a national security advisor to a Democrat, and she's like CIA.
I think we're much better to listen to.
But Heilman, he went on. He said he's obsessed with this. After her introduction, Trump supporters are ready to take up arms, press tactics that lead to civil war. The only people talking about civil war is MSNBC.
That's
every
right.
day.
It's only the people on the left.
Yeah,
because I think they want to trigger that. I really do.
They do.
They want to try to get something going.
Yeah, they do. And they really need to really cool off a little bit. And, this talk over the week, I'm not going to play this audio. I played it this morning on the radio, but of Jen Psaki predicting a major Democrat loss and blaming Joe Biden for it. And this is a fascinating thing that's going on here, because I think what's going on is, Jen Psaki is part of the Democrat establishment. Remember, she really always worked for Obama, not Biden, right? Jen Psaki was Obama's conduit to Biden, okay? She didn't really work for Biden. She worked for Obama. She was
like the liaison.
She was the liaison, but she is loyal to Obama. She's Democrat establishment. And when Jen Psaki went on Meet the Press this weekend and said the Democrats are going to lose, she blamed Biden for it.
Yeah, she did.
The Democrats have they have accepted that they're going to lose, and they want to blame it big time on Biden. So
maybe they wanted her to say that, to get that out there, to start getting that narrative going, because they know they're going to lose and they need somebody to blame.
Well,
it's not our fault.
I think it's more thought out than that.
You think
so?
Remember, he was going to do a rally in Orlando.
Yeah.
This week, which I knew they'd end up canceling because of the hurricane, and Val Demings wasn't even going to show up, and that's her hometown.
Yeah,
she doesn't want to be with Biden. He's a loser.
Here's what I think they're doing. They know they're going to lose. They know Trump's going to run in 2024. They are still running their schemes to keep him off the ballot in 24, but they don't know if that's going to be successful or not. They're trying to put pressure on Biden to announce he's not going to run.
Yes.
They want to bypass Biden. They're going to pass over Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala Harris, and find someone, Newsom or someone else, maybe even Governor Cuomo, who they'll bring in, who they think has a chance against Trump.
Oh, I think Cuomo will definitely run.
And Jen Psaki is setting the stage to blame Biden for the Democrat loss in November, and they're going to push him out. And the Democrats have done this before. They pushed out Lyndon Johnson in 1968 when he didn't run for re-election. He could have, because he knew he was going to lose. So they're going to convince Joe and Jill that there's no chance of them winning.
They don't care.
And get them out of the way.
They don't care. Biden will never quit.
No, he won't.
And his wife will never let him quit. They don't give a damn what people think. They're not in it for popularity. They are in it for the money.
That's all.
Pure and simple. He does not care what people think, what his coworkers think, what people in the government think. He does not give a damn what they think, and neither does his wife. There is no way this guy is going to quit.
But that's what they're planning.
Never going to happen. It's not going to work. He is not. He is so corrupt, and all he cares about is enriching himself, like you always have said, and his family. There is no way this guy is going to walk away. They're screwed. They're screwed. They're stuck with him.
But they're going to put pressure on him to try to make that happen.
Not going to work.
They may even offer him a financial incentive.
It won't be enough.
I don't think so either.
He's making a hell of a lot more through the war in Ukraine and all these other things.
And it's an ego thing. Jill doesn't want to give that up.
No way.
So, no.
Never going to happen.
No.
She'll try, but he's never going to quit.
She's put up with a lot from this guy.
That's for
a long time, and now she's got it. She's not going to be the former first lady any 1 second sooner than it has to.
No, being first lady is an awesome gig. Are you kidding me?
Now, one of our listeners on YouTube left a comment on YouTube. You guys can search for this. I forget which video it's on, but they left this in the last day or two. That they got their 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, and everything I've told you about it is true. It will change your life. And, Mike Lindell has a legal team he's put together led by the great Alan Dershowitz. He's suing the Justice Department for this raid on him 2 weeks ago. And, he's got this multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against him personally, against his company. You hear me talk about, what he's going through. They're trying to put his company out of business because he's a defender and open supporter of Donald Trump. It's terrible. And what MyPillow.com is becoming in so many ways is a legal defense fund. It really is. And even if you don't need anything from MyPillow.com, buy something. With our promo code Kane at checkout, you can save up to 66%. Take advantage of all the specials you see there with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And this listener on YouTube that commented on the 3-inch mattress topper, the 3-inch mattress topper right now is being offered for 50% off. That's less than we paid for ours. And that special is not going to last forever. When they update their specials for Christmas, I'm expecting that one to go away. It is a very good deal. It's the lowest price ever. And that 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, since we've had that, I sleep the whole night through until my alarm tells me to get up. It is so good. It's so unbelievable. I'm getting the best sleep I've gotten in my entire adult life. Now, listen, there are many other specials there. You can take advantage of all of them with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And you can also go to Mike Lindell's other website, mystore.com, and use our promo code there to take advantage of all the items at mystore.com, including huge savings on Mike Lindell's coffee, which is available in ground, whole bean, or coffee pods for your Keurig, okay? And that's also at mystore.com, promo code Kane, Kane. Support Mike Lindell and support us here on the program. Okay, now this clip here, I got to play this again for you, Kathy. This is just disgusting. This is Joe Biden over the weekend.
But guess what? We got a lot to do. You got to say hi to me. We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway, this woman helped me get an awful lot done. Anyway.
Okay, now, she was 12, I was 30.
What would a 12-year-old need to help him get done? I don't even want to go there.
I don't want to know. And
my God.
Could you imagine?
And that audience laughing like idiots. What's wrong with these people?
I think what that is like nervous laughter.
I don't think so.
What do you, I mean,
that's
think they're
weird.
Sycophants.
He needs to get booed like Nancy Pelosi. That's what he needs, a good booing. Like she got booed in New York. Like half the crowd. She was like some huge event. Thousands and thousands of people. Yeah. It was like a Trump rally. And half the audience
An audience
booed
of
her.
liberals.
But she's so out of it.
Well, it was an audience of liberals that booed her, not an audience of Trump people.
Exactly. Well, Biden's just a creep. He's a sleaze. He's a scummy guy. We all know this. So, I don't know where. I don't even want to know where his head is at. I don't want to know the things he's seen, done, or heard. It's like disgusting.
This exchange here, even if nothing happened, which you never know with Biden, but even if nothing happened, he pointed out to a specific woman in the audience and was talking to her like this. I mean, and because of his age, if she was 12 when he was 30, that means she's like 65 now, She's got children, grandchildren, a husband. But who knows?
Who is he talking to?
I don't know, but he pointed out a woman in the audience who's a grown woman and just said something terrible.
Well, she obviously
terrible
has known him a long time and has been with him and travels,
or at least in his fantasy.
I don't know. Maybe I don't want to make a joke about this.
No, I'm not making a joke.
No, I was going to make a joke, and I'm not going to go there.
I'll tell you what's really disturbing about it with this story is that's pedo talk, right? What's really disturbing about that story? It's been going around for a day or two now in the media. And no, it's not even shocking. No. Joe Biden is such a creep.
Oh, that's
not even shocking.
That's just Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your guy.
I mean, I have
to say, okay, I want to promote a few things that don't have to do with us. Sharon Osbourne was on Outnumbered, and I like Outnumbered, but I suffer through it because I can't stand Emily Campagno, so she's horrible. But I like to see who the guests are and who's on. And they had Sean Duffy, who's great, and they had Sharon Osbourne. So, of course, I was interested. I like Sharon Osbourne, even though her face is like so tight you could bounce a quarter right off.
She has so many implants in her face.
She can hardly talk, like literally. But she has a new special on Fox Nation, which I want to watch.
She looks like a mannequin.
Yeah, she really has gone too far.
She does.
But I like her, and she got fired for defending Piers Morgan, who was attacking Meghan Markle, and she defended her friend, and she got fired. She got canceled for that. So anyway, she has a new special on Fox Nation. I can't remember the name, but check that out. And there was another thing. Now it's just slipped my mind that I wanted to promote for people to watch. I've been watching the Gutfeld show.
Oh, I like that show.
And I didn't like. It's kind of like my relationship with you. Like, I couldn't stand you at first. When I first heard you on the radio, I was like, this guy is just annoying, obnoxious. My mom introduced me to your show. And then, of course, I ended up, with liking you and all this stuff. And, what happened there. But same thing with Gutfeld, even though I didn't end up marrying Gutfeld. I couldn't stand him at first. But my dad loves Greg Gutfeld. And my dad's like, he's hilarious. I love him. And so I said, let me give him another look. So I started recording his nighttime show. He has a beautiful set, by the way. I highly, highly recommend you DVR that show. It is the best nighttime show. It is hilarious. He has really good guests. He has some of the best comedy writers I have ever seen. His monologue, it's a little long, but it is very entertaining.
Well, and
his writers are very funny. And they do little cute skits, which are really good.
A couple things about it.
Yeah, I love that show.
What Greg Gutfeld, and I don't say this lightly, he deserves an Emmy Award like nobody's business.
It's a good show.
He consistently beats in the ratings Stephen Colbert and these others, and they're on the network and everybody's home. He's on cable news, which is not entertainment like they're on. And his lead in is, what's his lead in? Laura Ingraham?
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, it's like, out of everyone on Fox at night, she's the most boring. And it's not that type of thing. And even though he's on cable, he is beating out the networks. That's amazing.
We watch it every day. I tape it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Another thing about the Gutfeld show, okay? I did not like him at first when he first came over there. It took a while for him to grow on me.
Yeah.
But he's overextended, okay, on the 5. I know the 5 is their highest rated show.
It is.
And he doesn't want to leave the 5.
Tucker now sometimes.
But what he does on the 5, which just annoys me, everything he says is written out on the papers in front of him, and you can see him reading.
Yeah, everything.
And sometimes not only can you see him reading, he turns the page, you can see the writing, and it's in very big writing because I guess on his nighttime show he has a teleprompter. It's not so obvious. And I wish he would stop doing that.
He has a great staff of writers, and I think it's become a crutch with him on that show.
Oh, they're very good.
I agree with you on that because his lines are always good, and he's very funny. But I've seen him on his talk show make jokes off the cuff.
Oh,
so
he
is a funny guy.
Oh yeah, he's very funny.
On his show, he's more relaxed, and he doesn't read everything.
What I mean is,
but on the 5, everything. You're right. Everything is read. And
what
that
I mean
bothers
is
me
this:
a little bit.
I think his performance on the 5 really demeans him a little bit because he's so good on his own show.
He is very good.
But if you just catch him on, listen, I can't watch Gutfeld at night. It's on. I'm asleep.
Yeah, no, I record it. We watch it the next day.
Yeah. And I understand it's a different format, and I don't think that show's live, and the 5 is live.
Yeah, they might even record it at 7, 8 o'clock.
But he's really got to stop reading. It takes away from his talent because you can see him reading on those papers. I don't make notes or anything when I'm on the air.
You're unusual. I think most people do. I mean, even Rush Limbaugh, you told me. His entire show was written for him.
Rush would have his monologues written.
Right.
But not everything he did was written.
Oh, just the monologues.
The monologues. And he would take calls and everything was, Now, Glenn Beck, that's different. Glenn Beck is like a book on tape. Everything he says is written.
Everything?
Pretty much.
So he must have a huge staff of writers because
they have a writer's
show
staff
every day.
Yeah, Rush he went freestyle all the time. I do it the whole time.
Yeah.
But I just don't like. But anyway, the Gutfeld show is great.
He has great writers, really funny, and I mean, Babylon Bee level, really good.
They may be from the Babylon.
Yeah,
Bee.
and they poke fun at everybody, and he's very current with what's going on in the news. Very current.
What is the guy?
Very good show.
What's the guy? I forgot his name now. Oh boy, the guy that does the Dilbert cartoons in the newspapers.
Yeah, I don't.
Scott
remember.
Adams.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
he has good guests.
Okay, now Scott Adams, who Greg Gutfeld talks about all the time, and Scott Adams stole something from me once and used it. Remember that thing about Alexa with Jim Acosta? This was years ago when Periscope was still around, and I when I found out that Jim Acosta's name was not Jim, he's passing. His name is Abilio. He's Hispanic.
Yeah.
and he uses an American sounding name. And I asked Alexa what his name was because I wanted to hear the Spanish name because we're going to talk about it on the show. And Alexa, I said, Alexa, who is Jim Acosta? And Alexa said, Jim Acosta is a fake news journalist who da-da-da-da-da. And apparently it takes it directly from Wikipedia, Alexa. At least it did on this.
Isn't that funny?
So I made a video on Periscope
I remember this.
showing this. And then like that day or the next day,
he stole your
Scott
idea.
Adams stole my idea.
And then it went viral.
Yeah, exactly. He did what Kathy did, finish my sentence. He stole my thing.
Exactly.
He stole
I do that
my
all the
thing.
time. Sorry.
He got all the credit for it. I was like, unbelievable. He didn't even credit me. But anyway, Scott Adams, I don't read Dilbert, okay? I've never read Dilbert. I've seen Scott Adams.
I don't read comic strips.
And no, I don't read comic strips either. But
I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, but I've seen Scott Adams talk online and everything, and he's very sharp-witted, and I like Scott Adams a lot. Don't take this wrong way. But a whole bunch of newspapers stopped carrying Dilbert because it's non-woke, and he has one character, Scott Adams, who's a white guy who identifies as black, or is it a black guy who identifies as white? One or the other.
Like Eddie Murphy.
So a bunch of newspapers stopped carrying it. Now, let me tell you, newspapers are so irrelevant, and this is why they're not relevant anymore.
That's right.
You know, newspapers, nobody buys newspapers. You go to the newspaper stand at your local gas station, they'll have one or two maybe, right? They don't know what this thing with Scott Adams is such a clever thing. He's doing a version of Dilbert mocking this woke culture. A black guy who identifies as white,
it's edgy,
or a white guy who identifies as it's one or the other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He's got this very relevant political thing going on in Dilbert. If newspapers were not about just promoting some liberal agenda and were out there talking about the real things going on in the world, they wouldn't be irrelevant. Newspapers have not evaporated because of the internet. They've evaporated because of their left-wing agenda. I'll give you a quick example, and then we got to run because the show's running long. But I had that story about Alec Baldwin at the beginning of the show. That was from the Daily Mail. I read that from online, but that's a newspaper. And the Daily Mail is the most read English-language newspaper on the planet. Now, through its digital format. It still has a print edition, but through its digital format, the Daily Mail is very popular. It is, I read it several times each and every day. It's one of the first places I go to in the morning to find it's proof that a newspaper can survive and be relevant if they report the real news as opposed to being Pravda for the Democrat Party, okay? And this thing with Dilbert, if a newspaper syndicate said, you know what, we're going to stand, we don't agree with Scott Adams, but we're going to stand, I agree with Scott Adams, but I'm saying the newspaper talking. We're going to stand with Scott Adams. They would be relevant for the first time in about 15 or 20 years. Yeah. But the newspaper, this is how liberals are.
Well, we all know that wokeness is not good for business.
Yeah. This is what liberals are like. They're out of their minds. The newspapers would rather go out of business than let any type of conservatism be put on their pages and be relevant. So
it's true.
They're extinct. Not because of the internet. You can survive on the internet just like the Daily Mail in the UK and be very popular. They're extinct because of their liberal ideology. And this thing with Scott Adams is a perfect example. Well, listen, we are all out of time. I'm seeing everyone on our street is putting up hurricane shutters.
I don't know why we're going to get some bad weather, but we are not even under any kind of watch or warning at all. When you watch the news, they tell you, they'll have like a graph if you're in a tropical storm. How it goes is you get a watch first, and then it goes to a warning. Yeah. Okay, the watch comes first. So they'll say you're under hurricane watch, meaning you got to watch it, and then a hurricane warning means it's coming. We're not in either. See, look at the map right there. It goes from Tampa
we're not in the
to Key West to Key Largo. It's Miami's not even.
We're going to get rain. We'll get rain.
Yeah, but you don't need the shutters. It's going to be like maybe at the worst, like a bad like a tropical storm.
I don't know if
we don't need the shutters.
I don't know if our neighbors are just wimpy guys that are terrified, if they got too much time on their hands.
Well, I go with the second one because both those guys don't have jobs.
Well, maybe they have more time on their hands.
Their wives work, so they got to look like they're busy.
I guess.
Their wives are probably making them go do something because both those guys don't have jobs.
Well, like I said, I'll watch the advisories in the morning.
Yeah, we'll decide.
And then when I get off the radio tomorrow morning, if we're in the cone, then I'll put the shutters up, at least some of them. But I'm not going to put anything up today. There's no way.
I don't think you need to. I don't. But the people, I will say, across the street, they always put up their shutters,
and they'll leave them up for 2 months.
That's what's crazy. That's what people do. There's a guy on our street, and he put up shutters last year at the first sight of a storm around his entire house.
A little sprinkle outside. He put up the
and
shutters.
He's got kids in the house, entire house. And he left them up for 6 weeks. And I said, every time we drive by, I'm like, that is so dangerous. And they're the kind of shutters that you screw in. And I would say to you, what if there's a fire in this guy's house?
Exactly.
And you can only get through the door. What if you get a fire in your room and you got to go, sorry, I left the shutters up because I'm a lazy jerk.
Exactly.
Do not leave your shutters up once the storm is gone. It's a fire hazard. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're all out of time. Not that I have to run and put the shutters up or anything.
No, we don't.
But we're all out of time for today. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't forget, visit our website, briancraigshow.com. And if you're interested in advertising on the program,
send us an email.
Yeah, go to briancraigshow.com. You can email us through there for advertising information. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time.
From author Edward Nichols comes Insane Angels, available on Amazon. In Insane Angels, meet Michael Flagg, a hard-working, hard-partying Washington, D.C. medical student who wakes up one morning to a life-changing event. He discovers that he has acquired a halo. His girlfriend, Cheryl, suggests that he cash in on it, but Michael is more interested in answers. What caused the halo? Is he a holy man? Or is there something darker at work? To Cheryl, it's an opportunity. To Michael, it's a problem. When a clandestine government agency is tasked by the president to get to the bottom of the mystery, its deputy director, a rogue agent in no mood to babysit the haloed man, suddenly sees him as an existential threat. Now, Michael really has a problem. And even worse, unexpectedly begins to believe in the hysteria that now surrounds him. Insane Angels, a thriller that takes a short satirical look at our ego, false religions, love, spies, and redemption. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Insane Angels from author Edward Nichols. Available on Kindle and paperback.